Hello guys, once again it's Matt and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the patrons, make sure to subscribe and let's get into it guys. So today I wanted to talk about rank 8 tanks. I'm trying to get back to tanks a little bit. I've been playing a little bit with tanks and CAS aircraft in ground RB and I have been I'm having fun. So if you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, let me know in the comments that you like tank content because I will try to introduce a little bit on the channel, right? But let's go. Rank 8 tanks. It was kind of confirmed in the new economy, one of the new economy dev blogs that they did, confirming that rank 8 will eventually come. Basically, they're confirming it, right? So what is there to actually come to the nations that are in the game right now as a rank 8 tank, right? We have already rank 8 aircraft and we might even see a rank 9 in the future. I wouldn't doubt it to see something like that in the far future, right? And rank 7 is the max rank of tanks. So what is there to be added as a rank 8? Some of them will be kind of obvious, but some of them you might not know. So hopefully this clears things up for some of the nations that we have in game with possible additions. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to talk about from each nation the options that they have as a rank 8. Okay, so let's start with the US. The US has two options. Obviously, first of all, I'm talking about MBTs, right? I'm talking about main battle tanks, not AA systems, not APCs, not IFVs, anything like that, right? I'm talking about main battle tanks. Tanks that will serve as the spearhead of a nation in an armored division, okay? So, as I was saying, the US has two variants of the Abrams, obviously, because it's the main MBT that they have, the only MBT that they use, right? So we have the SEP in the game, right? The SEP is already a modernization of the older M1 Ajude, but after the SEP, there is basically three variants of the SEP. The V2 is pretty much the same, doesn't change too much, so we're not gonna mention too much of it, but the V3 and the V4 are kind of interesting. The V3 especially has more armor on the turrets. It has the trophy APS system, the same one as in the Merkava 4M. It has air burst rounds, ERA on the sides, just like the Tusk, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously, it can even carry more advanced ammos, like the 829A3, for example, instead of the A2 that it uses right now. Not that it needs it. The A2, I think, will be the main armament of a tank like this, no matter what is added, but still, more armor, you know, trophy APS would be a very cool addition of the SEP to be added, of the Abrams, right? And the second one would be the V4. The V4 is a very new aircraft and it can even carry even more advanced systems with better thermals, better everything. Even the 829A4 ammunition, which is an even more modern version of the older 829, right? It has even a laser warning system, so it would be basically comparable to other tanks that have that. It would be very cool to see that. Directional smoke launchers, and even an integration maybe for the XM1147 AMP round, which is a round that it's multi-purpose. They're trying to basically change all the secondary quote-unquote in-game, right, rounds. So HE, heat, all of those rounds would be combined into one round, and you would have the APFSDS. That would be the two rounds that this tank would receive, right? So it could be very interesting. Obviously, they are not majorly different than the Abrams that we have, but that's the thing. It's still an Abrams, right? The hull is still the same, the engine power, everything like that is still the same, but just additions and modernizations done to it. So, yeah, as I said, the trophy, more armor, better thermals, better ammunitions, laser warning systems, those sorts of things, and of course more spawns, because two Abrams would increase the amount of spawns that you could actually respawn in the US tech tree, which would be very, very cool, right? So these are for the US, the two MBTs that I think should be the rank 8 of it. For Germany, I think, yeah, obviously more Leopard 2s, right? I think the main one, obviously there are like experimental versions and other stuff like that. The PSO is one, maybe the 2A7 Plus, or minor differences here and there. But in general, the 2A7, okay? The 2A7, I think, would be very, very interesting to see. It doesn't change much. The major things would be more armor, especially on the sides of the turret for RPGs and stuff. and also more types of ammunitions, maybe the DM73 or something like that. I don't think he needs it. Just a 2A7 with a little bit more armor, maybe more modern thermals or anything like that, together with the DM53, you would already be an amazing tank. And you would, I mean, it's just a very, very good tank, and one more spawn for the Germans is something that they are wanting for a very long time. So for ranks 8 for Germany, I think the 2A7 would be the best option. One of them at least. For the USSR, I think, yeah, obviously we have two tanks that we can talk about it here. The T90M is the first one. Obviously, more armor with the welted turret instead of casted turret with compared to the older T90, right? Also, it has the relic kit, so the ERA of the T80 BVM, which is better than the old Contact 5. Apparently, it used the Stora as well, but I couldn't find any confirmation of it. But the main thing is that it uses the Arena M APS, so you also would use an APS system just like many other tanks already do in the game. New engine with 1130 horsepower, and then we can talk a little bit about the ammunition. The ammunition would be the two main ammunitions of the Russian army, the BM60 that we have in the game and the BM59. The BM59 is a Iranian ammunition. We barely have them on the sense of the Russian tech tree. You know, the only one that I can think of is the BM28 on the T62M, which is quite sad that they actually didn't add any of the more modern Iranian ammunition for the 125, right? But still, maybe the addition of the BM59 with the T90M and maybe for the BVM, it would be a very good addition for both of those tanks to be, or even the T72B3. I don't know if you can actually shoot it, but probably yes. And with these three tanks being probably the rank 8, the penetration of the BM59 isn't something like out of the ordinary. It's a 2002 ammunition or something like that. So it has 345 millimeters of pen at 60 degrees at 2 kilometers, which is very, 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 very similar to the DM53 that we have in game and the the M829 A2 that we have in game as well. So we would be in the same ballpark as those ammunitions. That's why I wouldn't say that at the M73, maybe the modern versions of the 829 should be in the game, right? Because with the BM59 and some other additions for other tanks, it might be alright with the penetrations that they have already, right? So yeah, it would be cool to see that. And don't expect a big change on the rank 7 to rank 8, by the way. It's nothing too majorly different. It's just modernizations of older tanks mainly, right? Of course, in USSR/Russia, we can have the Armata. I'm not gonna add it right now and talk about it right now because I think it's just too far in the future. We first need to see the rank 8, we first need to see the T90M here, then maybe someday I will do a video about the Armata, but not worth to mention right now because I think it's too far in the future. Even, I mean, we don't even know if it's going to be added to the game at all, you know, so it's too, like, not worth it to talk about it right now. Then we go for the UK. The UK is a problematic one. There's basically nothing to be added. They already have the most modern Challenger 2, with the most modern rounds on it, basically. So unless they add something like the T90 for the Indians, or maybe the Ajude or a different tank like that, there isn't much to be added. Probably the Challenger 2 will already be the rank 8 of that nation, right? The later models, obviously. For Japan, we can say the same. The UK, it's basically the same as the UK. It has the most modern tank that they use, the Type 10, together with the most modern ammunition that they have, which I think it's Type 10 as well, right? So it's just, there's nothing to be added there. Unless they add a sub-tree, there's nothing to be added. And probably the Type 10 and Challenger 2E, for example, would be the rank 8s of those nations. For the Chinese, we have two interesting things. The first one is that basically for the continental China, we don't have anything else. The Type 99 is the version that we have in game, is already the most modern Type 99 that we can have. And also the ammunition that he uses is the most modern ammunition that the Chinese use, as far as I know, right? So basically there's nothing else to be added there. But for the Taiwanese, it's quite interesting that they just received two M1A2Ps. and they will receive a lot more of them, 100 something or something like that, which is basically an exported SEP V3 variant, which would be a very cool and weird thing about this game, that the US and the Taiwanese can receive basically the same tank. There are some unconfirmed, stuff about the trophy APS system, so it might be a little bit different, using a little bit of a different ammunition or anything like that, but in general would be the same tank as the V3 for the US. So very, very, very cool, right? For the Italians, another one that it has two interesting things. The first one is that there isn't anything else to be added apart from the already in the game Ariete AMV, right? I thought somebody actually said that there was another version of it, but even if there is, I mean, there's not much else that can be added. It's the Ariete and that's it. But the second thing is that for a rank 8, if they actually add the subtree of the Hungarians and the Romanians or something like that, the Hungarians actually just bought the Leopard 2A7. So if they just bought the 2A7, it means that if the Germans actually use the 2A7 and if they actually add the subtree for Italy with the Hungarians, the 2A7 would be an option for the Italians as well as an Hungarian tank. So very weird but cool fact as well. Then we go for France. I think the French only have one tank that can be added for now, which is the LECLERC XLR. So a very late modification. I don't think this thing is even produced right now. The 2023 versions of this tank will be modifications from original already made tanks. So it's more on paper than anything else, but it's something that could be added. I mean, I think the contract is already being done, and I think the first ones might already be in service or not. I really don't know exactly, but it's a tank that exists and it will be entering service fairly soon, in full service, right? But it is basically the same LECLERC that we already have, the later one, the XX. I always forget how many X's there is there, but with some minor changes. So, for example, you would use the HE multi-mode programmable HE, a new type of HE, right, for them, more armor for mines, IEDs and stuff like that, and a more modern composite side armor with just modules of side armor for basically urban combat. So it would basically be a Tusk kind of upgrade to the LECLERC, right? And obviously with the addition of more modern ammo if they need to, so the OFL 120F2, for example. There are other munitions as well, the OFLE 120F2, made in 2013, and even the Shard Mark 1 and 2 that are being developed right now. They should have around 20% more performance than the current APF-SDSs, but I don't think these are even needed, right? So the normal rounds would be already plenty, I think. On the max side of thing of additions, I would say the F2 OFL would be already plenty. But yeah, just another LECLERC with a little bit more armor, nothing too crazy, maybe different ammunition, nothing like too major to talk about this because it's just LECLERC, we already know it, so yeah. For Sweden, no more tanks as well, because they only have the 2A6, you know, it's just the most modern tank that both the Swedish and the Finnish actually used. But also, we're using the most modern ammunition that they used as well. But there is a thing. Apparently, the Norwegians are buying the 2A7 as well, or something similar, maybe like that can be added. So, yeah, not only the Italians, the Germans could receive the 2A7, maybe the Swedish as well as a rank 8. Not saying that it should, because it's another nation. It's just like Italy. I mean, we need to see a sub-3 of those kinds to actually have that tank added. And the Swedish Tech 3 already has the best 2A6s in the game, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So it's problematic, right? It's already one of the best 2A6s, right? Do they need the 2A7? I don't know. Just putting out there the options. And last but not least, the Israelis also already have the most modern tanks that they can have, which is the Merkava Mark 4M, right? With the trophy M338. It's basically that and nothing else can be added. So for some nations, we can see some new versions. Basically all the nations actually we can see just new versions of tanks that we already have. The Leopard 2A7, SEP V3s, T90M, the LECLERC XLR, you know, just more modifications of tanks that are already in game. And that's why I think Rank 8 will come in the future, and very, very soon, to be honest. Maybe even next patch. I was actually talking about this with the mods and other people on the Discord, that yes, probably next patch will probably, I don't know, but it might be just focused more on tanks and actually adding the rank 8 for tanks. And here is the proof that it wouldn't be too hard, because it's just modifications of already existing tanks. Obviously, some of them, like the T90M, would probably need a whole new model or anything like that, but for the Abrams, it's easy to add. The LECLERC, it's easy to add. All of these, the Leopard 2A7, it's easy to add. So it's just kind of a copy-paste, but just increasing the performance and the modernizations of these tanks, right? And of course, many countries wouldn't receive anything. They already have the most modern things, and that should be fixed with BRs. These more modern tanks should have a higher BR, and that's pretty much it, because I don't think we should just not add a tank because there is no counter to it in another nation, right? If a tank was used and needs being used and stuff, it should be coming if at least has 1 or 2, maybe 3 counters on the whole game. But for example, Israel, it won't have anything, but it's fine. Just has a lower BR, and it's pretty much it. You can play it in a lower BR, and that's fine, right? Because there is nothing else to be added. So this is at least my opinion. I know some of you might disagree, but still. But basically this is it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you are excited for something like rank 8 of tanks to come or not. Okay, guys? I see you guys on the next one, and bye. Subscribe.